Hi there, worshipreneurs. This is Tamika Hall, and thank you for tuning into the Tamika Hall Show, where we're connecting you with worship artists, entrepreneurs, and authors worldwide. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, then great. I'm really excited to see you and for you to see myself and my wonderful guests. But if you're listening in from one of our radio affiliates, no need to worry. I'm excited that you're there as well, but I want you to hightail it over to YouTube, or if you're on my show page on TamikaHall.com, watch the video. It's always fun to kind of see the anointed people that God is allowing us to have on the show. So listen, today we are talking to Miss Delmar Johnson, who is the founder of HR Brain for Hire. She is also a rebootologist, so we're going to find out all about that. And she is the author of Seasons of My Soul, Lessons Learned in a Dry Place. So you don't want to go anywhere. If you're listening on the radio, keep it locked right here. If you're watching it on YouTube, keep watching. Without any further ado, welcome, Miss Delmar. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me, Tamika. I'm excited.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on the show as well. And for those of you that are tuned in, you know this is a new format that we're doing where I'm able to speak to my guests via Skype, which is a lot of fun. And here's the funny thing. On Skype, it said that Delmar was from Canada. And so I was like, what? Which I was really excited about. But I was like, I didn't think she was from Canada. I thought she was from right over here in the little old USA. So yeah. I am broadcasting from Maryland. Miss Delmar Johnson is from Tennessee. So really excited to have you join us on the show. Well, listen, let's jump right in.
Okay.
Talk to us a little bit about who Delmar Johnson is.
So I describe myself as a person or a woman who is in reinvention mode. I've been through some challenges over the last several years, and which is one of the reasons why Seasons of My Soul came out. And I am what I call a multifaceted woman. I have the corporate side of me, I have the entrepreneur side of me, and then of course I have the personal side of me. I'm an aunt, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and a friend, a loyal friend at that. So I'm kind of an all around kind of woman, if you will, and I have a passion particularly for women that are going through transition, because I've been through so many transitions myself. So I consider myself a multifaceted woman that's reinventing herself right now.
Awesome. I really just love how God can just give us a bunch of different gifts, and
Yes.
that's a gift all by itself. It's like, well, Lord, thank you very much. And I want to ask you, with you having so many different talents, how have you been able to even figure out who you are? Because I'll tell you that was a struggle for me really up until about a good year ago. And I said, God, you've given me so many things that I can do. I don't know what to do with all of that. So how have you been able to come into your own?
I think and I'm still coming into my own, Tamika. I think I have learned about myself those things that feel more natural to me and not necessarily forced is really part of my path and purpose that I'm supposed to be on. So I always tell my friends and people that are around me that innately I am an educator. And I'm a person who likes to pour into others, because as I give, I also receive from being able to do that. So I have found myself more so from these valleys and the struggles that I've been through, actually. And that's usually, I think, where we actually find ourselves, where we begin to find out what our purpose and our destiny is, because we begin to, as we mature spiritually, mentally, emotionally, we begin to tap into those things that are more natural to us, more innately to us. And I think that's where I have found my path. And I've always known that I was from a standpoint of, well, actually from a personal standpoint, I should say, that I've been an educator, but not necessarily in the traditional sense. So me having an HR background, having an educational background, as well as career development background, I find that those things come naturally to me. So those are the things that I've found that where I've been able to find myself, and of course through prayer and just study of the word. All that mixed in together has brought me to the point where I am truly discovering who I am as a woman and who I'm still becoming, because I'm still a work in progress, if you will.
Yes, we are. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, look, I'm a work in progress. Try not to hold too much against me.
Yes,
When I
exactly.
have my woman moment and I just,
Exactly.
might go off one day, the smile's not really there. Look, I'm a work in progress. I'm sorry. But I appreciate you saying that, because I think a lot of times in this journey that we call life, we
Mhm.
don't recognize that in the struggle there is purpose.
Yes.
Through the
Yes.
pain there is purpose, and so that's always good to be able to hear that we can come out of that on the other side, and to know that at the end of the pain there's always going to be something else happening. So I want you to talk to us about your company, HR Brain for Hire. I love the name of your company, and I love the fact that you are a rebootologist. I'm like I love fun titles, and so
Me
I really
too.
want you to tell us about how all of this came about.
Okay, great. So I found somebody else that's going to be in my circle now, Tamika, that like fun
Absolutely.
name.
Yes.
It's like I don't like to necessarily be like everybody else all the time.
That's right.
So HR Brain for Hire actually was really born out of the fact that I have a 20-year background in human resources.
Uh-huh.
So if again, that's something that came kind of naturally to me over the years of learning and progressing through that career. But it actually came out of a simple conversation I had one day when I was doing a contract job when I came back to Memphis, because I had left Memphis for 12 years, and 4 years ago the Lord brought me back to take care of my mother. So I had a simple conversation with someone I had recruited into a company on a contract that I was on, and he simply said the words, Delmar, that's something you ought to do for small businesses and for other people who's looking for jobs, who's trying to find out how to hire their first employee and stuff like that. And just out of that simple conversation, HR Brain for Hire came to life within 48 hours of us having that conversation. And I saw that there was a need for small businesses who don't want to deal with HR because they have so many other hats on that they're trying to find maneuver their way through their company, trying to find clients, following up on leads, doing all the marketing, doing, the accounting, the bookkeeping, all the hats that usually small business owners have when they're starting out or when they're in their growth mode and they're trying to figure out, okay, I need to bring in someone. I need to bring in my,
Mm-hmm.
build my team. But most small business owners don't want to have anything to do with HR. Nothing.
Right. Nothing at all.
Yes. So I found that there was a need there, and I said, they say find a need and fill that need. So that's what I started doing just a couple of years ago, actually.
That's awesome. I love the fact that you were able to fill that need. So talk to us about being this rebootologist. Where did that come from?
Now that really came from a personal experience as well, because I've been through a lot of ups and downs, the downsizing,
Yeah.
losing jobs, the economy, and all this kind of stuff that I've been through. And rebootologists, we always talk about, rebooting from a computer standpoint. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows the word reboot, but sometimes we have to reboot ourselves.
Come on.
We have to reboot our lives because life sometimes will show up
Uh-huh.
and knock us out.
Yes, it was.
And so I decided, hey, again, I'm a woman that likes, play on words.
Uh-huh.
So I was thinking of, what, we all have to hit the reboot button sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Life will knock us down, or we'll go through a season, through our valley seasons when we so hope that we would get back to our mountain seasons. But through all the economic change that are going on, where everybody's having to go through transition with economic, downsizing, through jobs being fired, being, whatever, losing retirement accounts, we sometimes have to hit that reboot button
Mm-hmm.
in life. So I thought of it from a standpoint of, I always say that I reboot careers, which is another
Uh-huh.
one of brands. And I played off that reboot word. I said, I'm going to call myself a rebootologist because I have a passion, particularly for women. And as we go through transitions, we forget just who we are. We forget about the true talents and skills and abilities that we have, and
Mm-hmm.
how we can take what we've learned, not only from our professional standpoint, but from our personal life, being a mother as you are,
Yes.
wife, or being being an educator, being whatever titles that you do hold as an individual, as a woman. We forget how we can hone all that in and really apply who we are at the core, from the inside out, to what we want to do to serve the world, whether that's through a business, whether that's through a career. So I like to take women on an internal journey, not just an external journey, when I put on my rebootologist hat.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. We do. Sometimes we just need to reboot, hit the
Yes.
reset button. And it's nice to know that we can do that sometimes, because
Yes.
I find myself sometimes feeling really overwhelmed and kind of saying, "Oh, how did I get here?" And more importantly, how can I get out? And so it's nice to know all I got to do is push the reset button, and we can just reboot and start over.
A lot of times we need help to
yes.
Most of the time, well, first of all, we're not in this world to be by ourselves anyway, or to live through this life by ourselves anyway. We should have support. We should have family and friends and colleagues and everything around us. But if you're going through a transition can be very difficult for some.
Yes.
And really, transition is probably difficult for most.
Right.
And you cannot transition onto the other side by yourself. You just cannot do it.
And you're right. No man is an island. That's a really good point to make. And so that's where you come in. That's really great. I mean, from dealing with the HR brain for hire, you're right. Small businesses, we can't do it all by ourselves. Honestly, most of us really don't know what to do when it comes to the HR side. And then, of course, with your coaching side of what you do, you're right. I mean, we need help. And it's great to have somebody that's objective, because sometimes you got to step outside of mom and dad, best friends, even your spouse, to get to somebody that's objective and can look at everything and not judge you. And so that's a great thing to have. I think it's very very poignant that we end up here to talk about your book. I want you to tell us about your newest book, because you've written another book before, but talk to us about your current book. There it is. Hold it back up for us. Yes. Seasons of My Soul, Lessons Learned in a Dry Place. Come on, talk to us about this dry place. Talk to us about it.
Definitely. Well, Seasons of My Soul was born out of my own personal experience when I left everything that I knew, my family and friends, for, career opportunities outside of Tennessee. I was gone for 12 years. And one thing that really kept my sanity, and I say that a lot of times, that journaling really saved my mind. So my book actually was birthed out of my 15 years of journaling.
Wow.
And when I moved from Memphis to Dallas, Texas, the first move I made, that was like going from a pond to an ocean. So from a pond to an ocean. So, you had to put on a different kind of life jacket.
That's right. You better say that, Delmar. I love that. Yes, so I love all your sayings.
Thank you. Yeah, my life jacket was journaling, because when there was no one around. Like I said, when I moved down there, I only knew one soul down there, and that was my sister's best friend. I knew one soul in a sea of 7 million people. Yes. So my way of escape and way of really acclimating to such a larger city and a larger area and a brand new experience for myself is I picked up a journal one day. I don't know where I was when I picked it up, but I picked it up and I started writing back in 1998 in my journal. And that really carried me through several seasons of some was high, some was low. And sometimes the low lasted a lot longer than I needed it to last.
Yeah.
So that's where my season of dry place comes from on my book. And during that dry season, I really had to start searching myself internally. The external things will always stress me out. I can only speak for myself. Will stress us out. But we have to eventually get to the point where we're investigating ourselves internally. And those dry seasons, all those roadblocks that came up, when I say a dry place, I mean a dry place. I lost everything. Wow. Eviction, cars repossessed. Didn't know what I was going to do. Contract dried up that I was on before I left the second place that I was moved to, which was North Carolina. So when I say a dry place, I mean, it's like, Lord, there's got to be a reason why you got me in this season, because everything I'm trying to do seems to be failing or not progressing as I would like to. So it really became a dry place for me. I said, Lord, I can't stay here too much longer, but it was a purpose behind it, as you were saying earlier, Tamika. It was a purpose behind it. But when you're going through that dry place, you can't forget about that purpose, Tamika.
I'm not even thinking about purpose. Not at all. I'm just like, listen, this is a dry season, and I'm over it. It's so funny you're talking about that. And my daughter, she just happened to walk in as we're recording. So I'm going to let Andrea, and I never do this. I never show my children. But Andrea, say hi to Mrs. Johnson.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
How are you? She said.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, my daughter here, she actually was birthed out of my dry place. And so it was
Oh,
funny when, as you were talking about just, not having a place to live, not, just really going, just not really knowing where you wanted to
yeah.
be. That dry place, I know when I was pregnant with Andrea, going through a transition of not being in a particular relationship anymore. And I remember I didn't even want to pray. I was like, I don't want to go to church. I don't want to pray. If another person says
I'm
anything
raising
to me
my hand.
about God, yeah. If you say
Yep.
anything else to me about God, I'm going to hurt you because that's not helping my situation right now. I'm 9 months pregnant. I
Yes.
want pickles and I can't buy them. So what's the problem? Like, what's up? But out of all of that, I just,
I'm so
that was
glad
the
you're so
truth.
real.
Yeah,
You're so real.
yeah, but
Thank
it's the truth. I remember just walking through the store and being like, man, I'm craving pickles. And I just I didn't even have $4 to buy a jar of pickles. But out of that dry season came my beautiful daughter,
you. Hmm.
Andrea. So I'm letting her get her TV debut here today. Now, Delmar, what lessons can the readers learn from your book?
There's a couple of particular lessons I want the readers to learn. And one is, if you're going through a season that you call your valley or your dry,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay in the place where you've fallen. Now, you may go through that fallen place for a while because there are lessons that you need to learn in it.
Yeah.
So you won't necessarily come out when you want to, because it's never on our timing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's never on our timing. So it really is important to understand that you don't have to stay there. But if you're still going through it, I always say, if you live long enough, you either going through one, just came out of one, or about to go into one.
Come on.
So you have to understand that you don't have to stay in that place, but you do have to do your part to begin to come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just sit down. It's like, okay, I just throw my hands up to life, which those are the things that you're going to do when you're going through a dry place. You are going to want to throw your hands up. I did.
Yeah.
I cried a river. There's a river somewhere with my name on it called Delmar. So, so those are, and tears are our release too. Tears
Yeah.
are a seed, and they are also a release. So that's one lesson I want your audience to know, that you don't have to stay there. You may have to also surround yourself, you should
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself and connect with people who can support you through that transition. Not about being judgmental on what you're going through, but knowing that there is hope. That's another lesson in there. Even
Yeah.
out of getting people that, or surrounding yourself with people that will support you through the transition. Don't lose hope. See, when you lose hope, you lose a whole lot.
Come on.
You lose
Yes.
a lot. God tells us we need to understand that we need to hold on to the hope of who He is too.
Mm-hmm.
So when we lose hope, that means somebody doesn't even know that when tomorrow comes, there's another opportunity for you to take a step forward out of that valley. So you have to hold on to the hope. I put a post on Facebook the other day that said, if you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and keep hanging on, because as much as you think that you are alone, we're never alone, because God said He'll never leave us nor forsake us. So we're never alone, but sometimes we have to get still and just know that God is God.
Come
It's like,
on. Yes.
I don't like this place that I'm in, God. I don't like the fact that there's no money in the bank. I don't like the fact that I just got evicted. I don't like the fact that my car was just repossessed.
Mm-hmm.
All this, but I know that is not the will. That is not your will for my life for the rest of my life. This is
That's
a
right.
season. And one of my favorite scriptures is Jeremiah 29:11. For I
Yes.
know the plans I have for you, to prosper you and not harm you, to give you hope and a future. So sometimes you have to grab a scripture that you remember, from
Mm-hmm.
childhood, from growing up, and hang on to that. If that's the only scripture you remember, then that's the only scripture you need to concentrate on.
That's
Some,
right.
we need to concentrate on those things to bring back that sense of hope. So I always pray for people like that, they never lose hope, even though they're going through the struggle. And we're still going through struggle. I
Yeah.
mean, if you woke up this morning, you probably went through a struggle. So, so struggle's not going anywhere, but it's how we begin to handle struggle after we've come out of certain seasons. Like now, I don't want to go back to some of the seasons I've gone through in my life, but now I recognize them if they show up.
Yeah, that's good.
See, I recognize them when they show up. It's like, okay, all right, Lord, there's a lesson in this one, but it's not going to last as long as the last time.
That's
You know?
good.
So I think those are just a few of the lessons I want people to take away from reading this book. For those who, decide to purchase it or just listening to my words here, it is those are the lessons I believe people can take from it. And there's many lessons in the book. Those are just 3 that really resonate with me.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that you said that resonated with me, because I think that I know I go back to women, but, I'm a woman, so I understand us a little bit, I guess. But, for us, we feel like we can never cry. We feel like it's a sign of weakness. People talk about men all the time not wanting to cry, but my goodness, you get yourself a strong woman who's been taught that she needs to be able to have her own, take care of household, whether a man is there or not, and we will not cry. And it was that really hit me to the core when you said tears are our seed and our release. So I love the fact that as we release and we're dropping these different seeds, seeds are going to grow.
Sure,
and
exactly.
Oh my goodness, that's good stuff. That's a tweetable quote. And for those of you that are part of my show and you follow the show, I got the tweetable quotes right there in the show notes. So make sure that you tweet that out to everybody and tell them that Delmar Johnson said it. I love that.
Please do.
That is good stuff. Well, Delmar, how can people connect with you to learn more about HR Brain for Hire, to learn about you being a rebootologist, so that you can reboot our life, and of course so that we can purchase the book? How can we find you?
Okay, thanks for asking. Okay, a few places, all over social media, but my website is delmarjohnson.com. Very simple, just my name, delmarjohnson.com. My Twitter handle for HR Brain for Hire is just that. It's at HR Brain for Hire. And it's actually the word FOR, not 4. A lot of people sometimes think it's the number 4, but it's actually
the word. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I spell the word before I put in the number. So that's interesting.
I do too. Exactly. So it's HR Brain for Hire, and I'm also at Rebootologist on Twitter. So I'm in 2 places on Twitter. And then they can also find me on Facebook, and my Facebook handle is Delmar Johnson Enterprise. So you can connect with me on Facebook, of course. And if you want to connect with me personally, that's fine. That's simply my name on Facebook, Delmar Johnson. So they can catch me in a lot of places.
And it's good to be caught. It's good to be caught. And you guys heard it. She is Delmar Johnson Enterprise. She's an enterprise, people. You need to be connected with Miss Johnson. Well, you know what, Delmar? I'm so excited that you took the time out to share your wisdom with us, to talk about your business, to talk about your new book. I'm really, really just honored that you just took those precious moments to just be here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And and I do want to say one more thing, because you asked me another question that I didn't answer.
Oh.
You can actually find my book on Amazon.com and also on my book site. If you want a personal autograph copy, you can order directly from my book site, seasonsofmysoulbook.com.
I love that. And folks, you already know I have all of the information right in the show notes. So if you forgot any of those links, all you have to do is scroll down and you'll be able to connect with Delmar right from your fingertips. Which leads me to just say, if you have not downloaded my free phone app, then I don't know what you're waiting on. You've got to do that. You can get the podcast, you can get the videos right at your fingertips. It'll come right to your smartphone. So make sure that you connect with me there. That link is also in the show notes. With me saying that, make sure that you like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and visit me at www.tamikahall.com. And until next time, stay inspired, stay motivated, and stay blessed. Everyone, you have a blessed day.